Summary of Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. Ozza speaks to the reader and wonders if she is a fictional character. She is eating while sitting in the cafeteria of the school and explains that around 50% of the human body is composed of bacteria. Ozza has anxiety issues and can hardly pay attention to what's being said around her. Daisy, her best friend, is talking to Michael, another friend, about Mr. Pickett, who left without a trace after being charged with fraud and bribery. Ozza opens up a crack in her finger and puts a new bandage on it because she thinks she might have C. diff, a dangerous bacterial infection. Ozza and Daisy do their homework at Applebee's after school. They hear on the radio that Pickett Engineering is giving away $100,000 to anyone who can help them find Mr. Pickett. Daisy informs Ozza that she knows Davis, Mr. Pickett's son, and the two decide to sneak onto the Pickett land to get to a motion-activated camera that might have caught Mr. Pickett leaving. Daisy and Ozza use Ozza's boat to go down the White River. Before Lyle, the security guard, catches them at the Pickett house, Ozza gets a picture of Mr. Pickett from the camera. Daisy tells Lyle that their boat is holed up and that they know Davis. Davis knows Ozza because Lyle takes the girls to see him. Davis puts the girls in touch with Malik, who takes care of Tua, the tuatara that lives on the land. Davis takes Daisy and Ozza home. Later that night, Daisy shows Ozza an online story that says Tua will get Mr. Pickett's fortune when he dies. Ozza drives around the freeway circle for her while the next day, before going home. Daisy gets off work at Chuck E. Cheese's and meets her at Applebee's. The two of them start looking for hints about where Mr. Pickett went. Ozza finds Davis on social media, but he hasn't posted since his dad went missing. Daisy emails a young reporter and asks for the missing person report for Mr. Pickett. The next day, Ozza reads the report at school and realizes that she and Daisy know more than the cops do because they have the camera's picture. Before they call the cops, Ozza demands that they talk to Davis. That night, she and Davis text. Daisy tells Ozza in the morning that she agreed to go on a date with Michael, but she changed it so that she could also go with Ozza and Davis. Davis says yes when Ozza asks him to come. Ozza has a meeting with her counselor, Dr. Singh, after school. Ozza asks herself out loud if she's soulless and says she's crazy, even though she lies and says she takes her medicine every day. As the meeting goes on, Ozza's stomach hurts, and she thinks she might have a C. diff infection. During date night, Ozza's mom tells her to be careful with Davis because rich people aren't careful, but Ozza doesn't listen. At Applebee's, the talk is mostly about Star Wars and the fan fiction stories Daisy writes. Ozza comes and goes from the discussion. Davis tells them that they should watch a movie at his house after dinner since he has a theater there. When they get to the Pickett house, Davis shows Ozza the theater in the basement while Michael and Daisy look at the art. Davis tells Michael and Daisy that he and Ozza are leaving the house through the sound system. He then takes Ozza to the golf course. He takes her hand and points out the stars. Ozza tells him that she opens the cut on her finger to show herself that she's real because she hates living in a body. This leads to the subject of Davis's father. Davis says Ozza and Daisy won't keep quiet, and he means it. He takes Ozza to a house and gives her $100,000 that he has hidden in cereal boxes. Ozza runs back to the house while Daisy and Michael are kissing. Noah, Davis's little brother, asks Ozza as she leaves the house if he can give her the notes from his dad's phone to help her look. When he cries, she tells him to go to bed. Daisy and Ozza text each other in the morning, and they agree to meet at Applebee's. Ozza looks up things on Mr. Pickett's phone's list of notes, but the word "the jogger's mouth" stumps her. She gets to Applebee's early and looks through her dad's old phone. Seeing the sky through trees was his favorite thing to do. She remembers how he died. He just passed out while mowing the grass. Ozza shows Daisy the money when she gets there. Daisy is almost in tears because she thinks she can quit her job at Chuck E. Cheese's and go to college. They order and pay more for food than they usually do, and they give their server Holly a big tip. The next day, Davis's lawyer, Simon Morris, calls Ozza. He tells her that he set up a time for her to pay her money and that Mr. Pickett won't be officially dead for 7 more years if his body isn't found. Oz's thoughts start to go in a crazy direction on the way to make the deposit with Daisy. She puts on and takes off several band-aids before Daisy finally tells her to finish driving to the bank. Ozza drops Daisy off after they put their money in the bank. As soon as Ozza gets home, she takes a pill to help her calm down. Ozza stays away from her mom and agrees to go with Davis to see a meteor shower on Thursday. Thursday, Ozza sees Daisy with a brand new orange VW Beetle in the school parking lot. Daisy gives Ozza a guide to schools, and Ozza spends the whole day reading it. Ozza thinks what Daisy did was stupid. Daisy brings out a brand new laptop when she and Ozza go to Ozza's house after school. Ozza doesn't like it, but Daisy says Ozza has no idea what it's like to be poor. When Davis comes to pick up Ozza, Ozza's mom makes him talk to her. He cries when she tells him that his money doesn't give him the right to Ozza. In the car, Ozza says she's sorry for her mom. Davis and Ozza eat dinner and then go outside to look at the sky, even though it's dark and they can't see the meteor shower. Davis tells Ozza that he writes poems, and she kisses him. They kiss until Ozza worries that Davis's germs are getting into her. She quickly looks at her phone and learns that Davis's germs will stay in her body forever. Davis tells them to do something normal like watch a movie. When Davis finally gets Ozza home, her mom sings her a song to help her sleep. Ozza and Davis chose to date rather than being together. The next day, she sees Dr. Singh and tells him about her panic attack while she was kissing Davis. In her words, she fears that her body and her crazy thoughts are making up stories about her. To be sure, Dr. Singh says Ozza is real, but she gives her thoughts too much power. Later that night, Ozza and Davis text, which Ozza likes. They meet up again at Davis's house on Monday. Davis says Noah was kicked out of school for bringing pot with him. They kiss and watch Jupiter Ascending in the theater, but Ozza has to stop. Her trip to the bathroom and hand sanitizer is caught by Noah as she walks back downstairs. He asks his dad why he isn't calling him, and Ozza can feel her fall getting tighter. Later, Ozza is able to find Davis's secret blog. They talk on FaceTime, which is a video call, and Ozza likes talking to Davis. They've been FaceTime every night for weeks. Ozza picks to read Daisy's fan writing one night. Ayala is a terrible character because she is nervous and ruins everything. Ozza knows that Ayala is based on her, and she knows that Daisy thinks she is useless and powerless. The next day, Ozza and Daisy watch a movie together after school. They have a small fight before Daisy goes to hang out with Michael. Ozza goes to see Davis later that night. Davis says he liked Ayala after reading Daisy's fan writing. He spins his Iron Man figure and tells Ozza that the universe is shaped like a circle. Ozza tells Davis about her swirls, and then the two of them go for a swim in the hot pool. After that, Davis gives Ozza a look at his telescope. He tells her that he thinks of his mom when he looks at the stars. Ozza reads more of Daisy's fan writing after checking Davis's blog when she gets home. Her stomach turns up when she reads a Wikipedia page about how bugs in the gut talk to the brain. When she uses hand sanitizer, she thinks about whether she's a danger to herself. The next morning, Ozza's mom wakes her up. Ozza is sick and worn out. She believes she will always be sick. Ozza talks to Daisy about the story on the way to Applebee's after school. Daisy keeps yelling at Ozza that she is worn out, spoiled, and a bad friend. Daisy can't get out of her mind. Ozza yells at her. They hit the car in front of them from behind, and then 2 cars behind them hit Ozza's car. Ozza is in a lot of pain, but she needs to get her dad's phone out of the trunk of her car. The phone doesn't work. An officer tells Ozza she's fine, and she passes out. She awakens in the hospital. Finally, the doctor tells Ozza and her mom that Ozza hurt her liver and will need to stay in the hospital for a few days. Ozza is scared that she will get C. diff. No matter how hard she tries, her brain keeps telling her she's going to die. It tells her to stand up and wash her hands. Ozza does, and Mom catches her just as she starts to throw up. Ozza understands that the monster is inside her, not someone else. Ozza tells her mom she's in a lot of trouble when she wakes up the next morning. Ozza gives us a different finish in which she goes off into the sunset with Davis or Daisy. In fact, Dr. Singh shows up and tells Ozza she needs to take her medicine and will be okay. After Ozza gets home from the hospital, she still checks on her. During the 2 weeks she stays in bed, Ozza doesn't let anyone visit. She goes back to school in December. Daisy meets her on the school steps and tells her everything that has happened in the past 2 weeks. Ada and Daisy eat lunch outside together. Daisy tells Ozza a story about a woman who said the world is supported by the backs of turtles, with one turtle on top of the other. Ozza thinks it perfectly describes how she feels. That night, she tells her mom about the money Davis gave her and agrees to have dinner with Davis. Around Applebee's, Ozza worries about Davis's germs again and tells him that they can't be together because things are better now. Daisy asks Ozza to join her and Michael at an art show in the sewer the next day. Ozza concurs. She and Daisy look at the work as they walk through the sewer at the show. When Ozza feels scared, she tells Daisy to go for a walk and says that going in an alley with light isn't scary, but feeling like you're always in the dark is. At the start of the Pogues Run tunnel, the two talk until they realize they are in the jogger's mouth. They remember how bad it smelled and go back to the studio to get Michael. That night, Ozza tells her mom that she thinks she found Mr. Pickett's body back at home. The next day, Ozza tells Davis, and Davis starts to cry. Davis doesn't send Ozza another text. After a few months, Ozza sees on TV that Mr. Pickett's body was found in the Pogues Run tunnel. Davis texts her back and tells her that he and Noah told the cops. Davis comes to Ozza's door in April. He tells her he's going to Colorado and gives her the spiral picture by Pettibon as a gift. In her next straight speech to the reader, Ozza says that she didn't know at the time that she would grow up and have kids, even though she would get sick twice and not be able to care for them. This story was written because her psychiatrist asked her to describe how she got to be where she is now. Through writing, she learned that she would always be one person.
About the author. John Green was born in Indianapolis, Indiana, but Orlando, Florida, was where he spent most of his childhood. He graduated from Alabama's Indian Springs School. Green finished from Kenyon College in 2000 with a degree in both English and religious studies. He said he mostly learned about Mark Twain and Islam. He worked as a student chaplain at Nationwide Children's Hospital in Ohio after college. His goal was to become an Episcopal priest. On the other hand, working at the hospital and another job reviewing books for Booklist made him want to take writing more seriously. When his first book, Looking for Alaska, came out in 2005, it was an instant hit. The next year, his second book, An Abundance of Catherines, came out. Even though it's not his most popular book, it's the one that schools teach the most. He thinks this is because it has the fewest sexual references of all his books. Since 2007, Green and his brother Hank have been keeping up with a video blog that has led to other media projects and money for charity. Green wrote and released The Fault in Our Stars in 2012. It got great reviews from critics and was made into a movie in 2015. After writing The Fault in Our Stars, John Green felt pressured to write another book that would live up to his reputation. As a result, he temporarily got worse with his mental illness. Like his character Ozza, he has anxiety and obsessive-compulsive disorder. He lives with his wife and 2 kids in Indianapolis, Indiana.
Hope we summarized it fully and you liked it. Please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel so that we are motivated to create more videos.